Howdy and happy Monday. We're back here, Monday Market 15, the 15-minute show. It starts never on time, but it's roughly 30 minutes. Might as well hang on. So, saddle up, partner. We're about to ride a round of whatever we're about to ride. So, with me as always, Great American Title's very own, the established, the most credentiously inclined blonde I've ever known, for sure. Miss Ashley Miller Perkins.
Hello, everyone.
She's back.
And welcome to Juneteenth.
It is Juneteenth.
Today, Juneteenth.
How come we're not taking the day off? It's a federal holiday.
Well, we don't work for the Fed.
Oh, that's true.
Actually, my company is closed today.
Are they really?
Yeah,
Oh.
we are closed today.
I'm working. I work every day. I think I worked every day this weekend.
Well, we have to work every day in our industry. I mean, there's not a day that somebody's not looking for a home, and especially since everyone else has a day off, that makes it so we need to work even harder on those days.
I'll show you what I was doing. Like, I didn't plan for this, but I'll show you what I was doing on Saturday. So I took a listing up in Munns Park, and it is
So
a
fancy.
fabulous listing. I'm gonna try to pull up a picture while I am
Munns
wasting
Park
time.
is northern Arizona for you non-Arizonians.
Oh, way up there in Arizona.
Beautiful.
Desert, arid mountain tops. You can keep talking, Ashley, while I keep finding this stupid house that I didn't plan on showing.
So one of the things that we were discussing today, and it actually reminds me of this gorgeous house, is we look at a property.
Look at this thing.
I mean, it's gorgeous. Like I visualize myself there. I visualize my patio furniture, staying on the second deck, you know, just being cozy, like when it's raining, and I've become emotionally attached to this photo, and I haven't even walked the property.
Well, and I did take the photo, so I try. But this really plays into your intelligence. I think a place like this really allows you to kind of explore your emotions a bit.
Well,
because that's what today's show is about.
Yeah, absolutely. But when it comes to emotional intelligence, which is different than your IQ, it's your EQ. It's where you react based upon logical thinking. So when somebody were to see that house, like, my son, he's 11 years old. He's here on the ground over here.
Yeah,
and he's like, Mom, let's buy it. It's beautiful. Like, I love it. And instinctively, I'm like, oh, like I can visualize myself there. It's like so warm and cozy and amazing. And however, I have to use my EQ, my emotional intelligence, to know that that is not what I need to be doing in my life right now, buying a beautiful cabin in Munns Park.
It is a pretty cabin, though.
It is. Really
so if anybody's looking at Munns Park, a getaway full of getaways, I would suggest starting here at our channel. Just go ahead and text me information about that. I will be publishing that pretty soon. So it's $6.99. It could be yours.
$699.99.
Not just $6.99.
$6.99.
Under $700.
But with that being said, now this is why I believe that investors and wholesalers have the capability of purchasing or flipping homes, is because their EQ is very high. They have no true emotional connection.
What's their business?
To that property. Yeah. While where you are taking out people who want to purchase properties, there's a completely different EQ there.
I would say emotions are the dominant variable when it comes to buying and selling really anything, but particularly housing in this case. Emotions. If you hear the news all the time, if you get on there and you listen
to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are certain news stories. I mean, whatever your mind frame is, if you're a very anxious person, you're going to find a lot of anxious news articles, whatever. If you're very conservative in your logic and your mindset, you're going to find news articles that aren't. They're going to be more intentional, I guess.
Right.
But when it comes to housing, people buy emotionally, just like anything else. They buy emotionally and they rationalize logically. So like, oh my God, I don't know why I love this home, but I can see my kids there. I can do all, and I know that as an agent. So a lot of what I do in marketing is marketing the emotion part of that. A lot of that is captured in the photos, and the second part is like when you get the family there or the person there purchasing the house, you do things to kind of like ignite those emotions. And that's why you smell, like when you go to open houses, you'll smell like cookies, or you go to open houses and they'll do all the staging and stuff because they want you to emotionally immerse yourself there, because then you'll make an emotional or irrational decision in sometimes offering more than you need to.
Well, we make very emotional intelligence is used daily in our lives, whether we are cognizant of or not.
Yeah.
We do. We make irrational decisions all day long. However, your EQ when purchasing a home, you really have to be in tune with it.
Yeah.
I mean, why are you purchasing the home? What is the purpose? Are you financially ready? Are you prepared for the good, the bad, and the ugly?
Well, and I think that's really what's key in obtaining or looking for an agent, outside of yourself, because, people selling a house tend to think that their house is worth, double what it really is realistically. And then buyers too will sometimes buy houses based on emotions rather than logic. They'll buy a house because it's in the right school district and not really consider or kind of waive the fact that it's got plumbing issues that could potentially cost thousands of dollars later.
Well, and then they're pissed off later.
Yeah.
Because they made a poor decision based on the emotion because they loved the deck.
Yeah. How much do you like the deck?
I really do like that deck. It's very pretty. But $699 is not currently in my budget. So with that being said, we have to really make it, I call it my emotional checklist. Really sit down, and if you have a partner that's doing it with you, whether it's a spouse or whomever you choose to purchase a home with, including your other partners, like your title partner, like us, or your real estate agent or whomever that may be, and set up that emotional checklist. Is this going to make sense for myself, my family, or whatever situation you're purchasing the property
So like
for?
Morristown?
Yeah.
So I did actually have somebody ask me about
Finally.
Morristown. I called Ashley. She was busy at the time, but I called her, texted her. I'm like, hey, somebody's asking about Morristown. I don't really know anything about Morristown other than what you've told me, which is very limited. Other than your excitement about it, what is it about Morristown that you like?
I've watched it grow from dirt, and it's slowly developing, and I have this like awkward attachment to it. My grandparents used to go to Vegas and Laughlin all the time, and that's the road that you take to get out there because it's right before Wickenburg, and that's like how you go when you're driving from Arizona to Vegas. And I've driven by this piece of dirt for so long, and now watching it develop and knowing that, gosh, if I would have just bought that land there a while ago, where would I financially be now? So I do have this like emotional like connection to this town that I've only driven by. I mean, I've driven by a ton of times.
Oh, so there's no amenities there, like a golf car or golf course?
I think they got Walmart.
Oh, I mean, that's an exciting amenity.
That's something.
Oh boy. No, so they were asking, what's in Munns Park, and I'm like, I have no idea. I mean, I knew about the whole trip to Vegas part of that, but
yeah,
and there was a nice house, had a big yard for like $300,000 in
Morristown.
Morristown.
Well, I think a lot of us we choose to purchase homes based upon the area that it's in, the nostalgia of the area. So if you grew up in a certain part of town, what's on every corner. That you're emotionally buying in that area because of whatever it may be. Or maybe you only want to buy a 2-story house because you grew up in a 2-story house, or only a home with a basement because that's how you grew up. And maybe you're from the Midwest, and you're only going to look for a home with a basement in Arizona, which is far and few between, because it's going to remind you of how you grew up. So we have to think about those things. Why are we making these decisions?
That goes exactly back to what I was talking about. People buy emotionally because something there reminds them of something in their past. So what I try to do during my open houses is play like 60s, 70s music.
Heck yeah.
Because, that elicits hopefully memories of your grandparents listening to the same music.
Do you do that in like the old 1970s homes?
No, I do it in every home. You know what I like?
Uh-huh.
I like James Brown. Because it's kind of
Brown.
peppy, but it's kind of, reminds you of an old time.
I was jamming out to Leonard Skinner the other day in the car.
Oh boy. Well,
yeah.
because you're a
Simple
little
man.
bit of hick in there. There's a little bit of hick in Ashley there.
There's just a little bit of everything. In there.
Gosh dang it! There's a little bit of Miller in everybody.
Well, I want to talk about. So
We're talking about the article you pulled up.
No, I'm not. I want to talk about what's happening right now with us emotionally, our EQ versus our IQ, and going back to echoing what Robert was saying about our market and what's happening right now. We're in this space. I believe we're in this space where like
everybody's
home prices
anxious.
are up, interest rates are up. Yeah, we're anxious. Like, what is happening to us? Are we even able to think correctly right now?
No.
And when we were looking at those charts, we're like, holy cow, inventory is up. I don't know if you had that in an article, but inventory was. We have 9 months worth of inventory.
This is nationally, by the way.
Nationally.
Here, let me pull it up.
And is that scaring people?
let me get my
Like, does
face
this
out.
chart? How do people feel? Like, our IQ is telling us, like, okay, these are facts, but our EQ, our emotional part's like, holy shit, we're on a roller coaster.
Well, see, nationally, we're way above a balanced market. We have more inventory nationally than we do. If you look at Arizona, let me pull that up real quick. And in Arizona, right here, we are. If I can get this stupid thing out of the way, we're at about a 1.4 month supply, and this is like tripled in a matter of like 2 months. Remember we were talking like barely a month supply or half month supply, like 0.4 month supply. Basically, a point or a half month supply is if we took no more houses for sale, we'd run out in about 2 weeks. Right now, we're going to be we're at 1.4, so we're gaining in inventory.
So are we gaining in inventory because the fear of the buyers who were looking 6 months ago and interest rates were 2.5 or 3%, and now they're up to 6%, and either they cannot financially afford it because obviously that raises it and we have to have like our debt to income ratio, or is it the fear that they're making a poor decision and they should have bought, like almost like a regretful decision, so they're not buying? There's
that group of people that have to buy. I mean, they either moving out of a rental or they're getting kicked out, or they're getting kicked out of the rental or need a place to go. If you get families that come from out of state, I mean, they're moving here. Where are they going to go? They're either going to face a very high rental market, or they're going to be in this priced market where things are just elevated still. Prices are still high.
Well, I'm curious if anybody that is watching, and you can make a comment.
Make as many comments as
below is, have you put together some sort of spreadsheet to understand where you are financially, and if you are going to be okay, not just financially, but emotionally with making that decision. You're like, kind of like when you buy a car and you're hearing the car salesman, you're like, I'm not going to pay over $500 for a car payment per month if you're financing, right?
Yeah. And
all of a sudden you walk out there and your car payment's $620. Do you feel emotionally okay about that?
Well, it depends on the car.
Right. and so it's same thing. It depends on the house. So how are we utilizing our rationality?
Or not? Well, in a car situation, you hope to take like your partner or your spouse to kind of like slap you silly and be like, hey, dude, we can't.
I wouldn't do that anyway. I like to buy cars off like from the auction, and I already know like, here's my $10,000 and I either can get it or not.
Oh.
Type of thing. Except this last car we bought for Ryder. But
I get too excited.
Yeah. Everyone does.
But I think to have somebody not invested necessarily in your pocketbook or in your emotions, I think weighs greater. That's why having an agent, works in your favor. As a buyer's agent, you don't pay anybody. If you're looking for a house, you don't pay every agent. The agent gets paid through the seller. And you basically get them for free. And hopefully that agent is experienced and knows enough about the market, knows enough like to run comps and looks after your best interest. Every agent is supposed to be a fiduciary towards a buyer. So they're not supposed to think of their best interest. You're supposed to think of the client's best interest or the buyer's best interest. And so you hope to have that person. I don't know if you can avoid it, especially when in this market when you're used to like selling a house right away. And if you have an agent that needs the money for whatever, I don't know if you can entirely avoid that, but they take an oath saying that they're going to be their fiduciary and set aside their own emotions and really think about yours.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a lot of times that doesn't happen at all.
Yeah.
So you said something that reminded me talking about.
Is it my voice?
Oh,
hello.
Hello,
it's my voice. I know, Ashley. I know you can't resist it. So, sorry. I was buying you time. What'd you say?
Just like
I distracted you somewhere. Anyway,
But we're all a lot of us are extremely intelligent.
See what I did
We
there.
can add 1 + 1 always equals 2. But when you get your emotions involved in it, through the real estate platform, we have the tendency to make really poor choices.
Yeah, and then what really spurred Ashley in this conversation, courtesy of Rocket Mortgage today, there is a article that she wanted to bring up. The emotion behind buying a house. So if you go to rocketmortgage.com, shout out to Corey Sheena. He is one of our longtime supporters. Corey Sheena, Rocket Mortgage.
He did not send this article to me, which I thought was really awesome. That I was looking for something, and then not to discredit him, but then it was like Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage, they have a lot of really quality information online.
So shout out to Corey Sheena, Rocket Mortgage. Longtime supporter.
Yeah.
Is there anything about the article that you want to bring up in particular?
There
I know she wrote some notes. She wrote a lot of notes.
I did take some notes.
This is why it takes 30 minutes, because we can't seem to get our shit together ever.
Well, some of it was talking about understanding, like omitting to what your real purpose is.
Yeah.
It doesn't even say it specifically in there. This is just my take from it. Admitting to what your purpose is, emotionally, financially, your lifestyle. It is really hard for people to change their lifestyle and admit that they may not be able to afford what they were able to afford before.
Yeah.
And having that empathy for yourself and releasing like the frustration, releasing all of that, and just accepting that this is the way the market is now. You have to take it or leave it, but you can't get mad at your agent. You can't get mad at the market. You can't get mad at anybody, because at the end of the day, like, you're in charge of making that decision regardless. What's happening on the outside, all that noise, it's not going to change your current situation. We are where we are with the market.
Yeah, and so many people are waiting for the market crash or market bottom. I don't know if there's going to be a complete crash. I know there'll be prices that come down because, after some time, people who are selling a house want to sell the house. They don't necessarily want to hold on to it. And there's a whole motivation there to be in contract. And as we decrease prices, interest rates are going up. So all those price decreases are being inversely related to the interest rate hikes. And so you may be paying, less price, but you're actually making the same payment even as interest rates go up.
Well, we talk about that a lot. I think almost like on our past couple of shows
We talk
about truly understanding it and what's behind it. But you have to have proper education and
going to the P's again.
no, but going back to
proper
what
performance,
you said, we go online and we read the news and all these articles, and if we're thinking negative, we're going to attract the negative articles to us. If we're thinking positive and how we can make this situation work in this type of market, we're going to attract the good articles, if that's where you get your sources from.
And I think at the end of the day, it's just putting your emotions into check and bouncing off what your intent is. If your intent is to buy a house, where am I at financially? Can I make these payments? We're almost in an environment still where you make a contract and you submit an offer and hopefully get it accepted so that the lender can start processing the loan and then get back to you as far as what the payment is, what the interest rate's going to be, what your fees and everything else is going to be. And then you could be able, during that inspection period, so the first 10 days, you can walk away from that. Don't worry about your agent's feelings. Don't worry about the lender's feelings. It happens in this market all the time. People walk away during inspection periods. It's pretty common. Part of that inspection period is the finance end of it.
Right. So this morning I was watching, I can't remember where it was located, probably, I don't know, TikTok or something. And this is just, and I want to ask you if you've ever experienced this and if anybody has ever experienced this. A real estate agent was selling a house to a family. And the house is online, just like your beautiful pictures you have of Mom's Park. You got the address on there. They signed the contract sight unseen because they're like, we're not going to drive up there. And like, oh, this is awesome. Then on closing day, they get the keys, and guess what? It's a different house.
Seriously?
Yeah. The agent had put the wrong pictures to the wrong address.
And then didn't verify, huh? Mm-mm. And they closed and everything?
On closing day, she brought her clients in, like, here's your keys. You do the big ceremony, and they're like, this is not the house that was in the photos. So
the takeaway is have your agent walk through on a live camera.
Yes, the agent didn't even walk through the house.
Well, and that happens, I think, sometimes with those bigger groups, those bigger teams.
Yeah.
You know, so there with the teams, you usually have like one person, and you look online and they have like 500 sales, and you're like, oh my God, how does one person have 500 sales?
Right.
You know, and you're like, okay, so there's a team of like 10 people, 10 agents, and you know, they're not necessarily checking in with each other. You know, I'm assuming, I don't know, I'm not part of a team, and for me, like I think managing 4 deals a month is probably adequate for one agent.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You know, that's plenty of work, believe me. Like doing more than I've done up to about almost 7 or almost 8 transactions. I've done
With
7.
no like assistant TC like
Correct.
transaction.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I don't feel the quality of my service is necessarily there. So I think a good number to work with is about 4 at most. Your average agent is probably going to have what, one a month? Your typical somebody that's been full time and kind of going on.
Yeah, I would say about 1 a month. But it's important that your agent that you select to be on your emotional team support on the roller coaster has actually like walked the property, seen the property. If you're going to buy something sight unseen, that's maybe in a different area.
Yeah,
because
could be those out of staters.
Or whoever. I don't even know how this happened, but I'm watching this like unfold, going, what happened? And could you imagine that happening to you? Holy shnikes, your emotions would just like go like insane. Come to find out at the end of the video, the couple that, the family that went through this, they're like, ended up actually liking that property. And
so they were okay with the house?
They were okay with it, but then it fudged up all the paperwork for the title company, and they ended up taking that house instead of the other house. And I was like, oh, that's a cool ending to the story. Yay.
If anybody else has any cool stories like that, we would like to hear those too.
It just blows my mind. It blows my mind that like even happened. So, and I'm assuming it's not the first time.
I don't know. That's the first time I've heard it.
Yeah, I don't
want to be
either.
the responsible one. I imagine getting sued for that. That's
I'm sure there's a lot of legalities that they didn't mention in that. Oh. However, having
hopefully
an
they
agent
inspected the right one
like yourself, who is willing, knows your capacity, knows that 4 is comfortable. A few more is okay. At 7, it's a little intense, and mistakes can be made. So the agent, the lender, the title company, they are going to be part of your team and executing this and make sure they're emotionally stable too.
And read your contract. I think that's the other thing too. The contract is supposed to have the parcel number. It will have the address. And so you can verify some of those online, cross-reference them with the links that they send you. So if they coincidentally or accidentally send you the wrong house or sell you the wrong house, then it's not going to be a surprise, hopefully.
Insane in the membrane.
So you ready for some stats, Miss?
Insane, got no brain. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going back to stats. So we're at the last 10 or so minutes, because we can never seem to, 1, start on time, or 2, finish within 15 minutes.
We're on the same page,
we're just what we are. So we're going to go to the Google machine here. And every week we look at kind of like an active inventory. It's kind of our pseudoscience. Mm-hmm. And at the beginning of the year, we started off at roughly about 3,000 houses.
I thought I was like,
can you take a guess what the number is today, Miss Miller Perkins?
It's got to be somewhere around 11,000.
Holy shnikes! You looked at my answer, didn't you? You looked at it.
Because last week it was like 11,000, like 800 and something.
Oh, it's 11,700.
I mean, last week, I'm sorry, it was 10. It was almost 11,000 last month, and it keeps every single month. More and more houses keep going on the market. Yeah,
so roughly we're about 11,000. So a balanced market in the Phoenix area would be anywhere for around 35,000 homes. So we're creeping up there. Mm-hmm. Definitely, I think we've tripled since the beginning of the year. I would say. I would roughly say tripled. So housing inventory is going up. So those buyers out there who are wanting...
So have our rates.
What I'm seeing with buyers in particular is that there's an opportunity now. Like the buyers that I've been working with actually are getting calls back. Like I had a listing agent actually call my buyer's lender today.
Oh.
Which never happens. It's like, okay, let me go to the first 10 offers and see which one's the best one and only call the top two. But now we're actually getting calls back, and I was actually able to get 2 contracts this weekend. Hoping for that third one today. I mean, it's just nice. I'm praying. I'm keeping the praying emoji clicked immensely.
Yeah.
But for buyers right now, there is some opportunity, and the opportunity more is that interest rate too. The Fed increased the federal funds rate. It is not interest rates, but it is the funds rate that the exchange. So the money that is exchanged between banks and brokers, that is the federal funds rate. They call it the overnight rate. So it's the fee, basically the exchange. And so typically if that fee is increasing, that interest rate is increasing, then it's going to impact mortgage rates because it's going to make mortgages more expensive. And typically banks and brokers don't absorb those fees. They pass them along to their buyers. So we had another rate hike last week, 0.75, and there's another anticipated 0.75 in July. So there's somewhat of a scurry to get in before that interest rate goes up. Prices will go down, but interest rates are also going up. So you're basically paying the same amount.
Currently right now, I don't even think we even pulled this up. It just came to mind.
Yes.
An average home that's in the price, I shouldn't say an average home, average priced homes like $475 in Arizona. Have you noticed an extent of how long they've been staying on the market? Because before they would just fly off the shelves. Now is it like, are they staying on the market?
Average days on market?
15 days longer, 20 days longer?
Well, to answer your question regarding median price points, so the median price point right now is $529. So that's gone up significantly in the year too. So $529, I can try and pull up, if you want to talk for a minute, I can pull up the supply. Up there, somebody's saying hi.
It's Colby Boo. I think that with the home staying on the market longer gives us buyers an opportunity to search for something that they are more interested in, and they're not flying off the shelves like a freaking Black Friday, at Walmart.
I'm pulling it up right now.
But they, with the rates going higher, it is an extremely emotional thing to go through. Like, homes are staying longer, you have more options, but interest rates are higher, and I mean, where are we with that? Like,
so let me just pull up Maricopa, since you asked for it.
I did ask.
So if anybody else has anything they want to pull up real quick,
give it to me, baby.
Yes.
All right. Normal home.
I know, normal. So about 26 days in every market, or it looks like, every city in Maricopa. So we're running about 26 days on market. So at the beginning of the year, we were looking at about quarter one, about 35 on average. Now we're up to 26. So I would say this is more seasonality on days on market. So about 26. There are going to be certain areas like the house I have listed in Surprise. That average days on market is about 41. So it's a little bit long.
Surprise, yeah.
It's also a little bit further away.
It's more of a snowbird type of area, so they don't come out here to buy during the summertime. Not like right now where it's freaking 115 out. So
that's the thing is like there's some normal seasonality happening. I mean, people sometimes don't buy in June. They wait to the summer or they go on summer vacation. They come back August, September and start buying again. And you start seeing, did I pull up that number?
Well, and as a seller, you do have to be a little bit more patient now with your agent and understand that your home's not going to fly off the shelf right away. No.
I know, and that's the thing we're getting into, and I found this interesting, so I'm gonna show you this. So affordability, just you would assume, as you're watching like the news or whatever, the housing affordability is going down, and when you pull up the chart, it's kind of funny, just the graphic of it. This is housing affordability. This is national. These are off the Fred website. So this is a national number. So affordability is just like going down. Hey, there's really nothing to even explain. It's just like, okay, housing affordability. Oh, it's going down.
Now your kids are not going to get their own bedrooms. You're going to have triple bunks in one room, and that's going to be okay because they're going to have great stories to tell when they're older about how they had to share a room with their two siblings or.
Yeah. So as far as if you want more recent data, so existing home sales, the new National Association of Realtors. So if you go to the National Association of Realtors website, you go to research and statistics section. Existing home sales are minus 2.4 for April, but the new report comes out. Look at that. When does it come out? Tomorrow.
Bet your bottom dollar that.
So if you want to look at existing home sales in the month of May, how they worked out, I'm curious because I listed that Surprise house and it's just been, going down. You can literally feel the impact of interest rates because it's like a ghost town right now in a lot of listings. You're not getting open houses or just not seeing the traffic. I think largely due to fuel, but you're really not seeing and feeling like, hey, this is a seller's market anymore. And you start seeing in those outskirt areas, but then you start feeling it here. But if you want to go on to the, again, National Association of Realtors website, tomorrow they have their new data release at 10 a.m. and you can see the existing home sales for May, which I am curious about, and I'm excited to see how May turned out, because I know what it felt like, but actually I want to see it in the numbers now too.
May was rough.
Heartbreaking.
May was really rough.
And just to kind of wrap up too, so going off of feeling, going off of sentiment, you can see the numbers here in the supply index. Supply, green means not good, just green means we have a short supply. Red means we have oversupply. Yellow is balanced. And demand index has been just creeping down to the red zone. Red zone means like very little to no demand, which is also causing supply to increase.
Well, and to again echo what you said, it's summertime in Arizona.
Summertime.
Is this national?
No, this is Arizona.
Oh, this is Arizona. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. Like, I guarantee you, come August, that is going to change a little bit.
Yeah, once we get to these yellows, it's a balanced market. So we are going into the red zone in demand. Demand is just completely just diminishing. And I think a lot of that is due to emotions. People are just concerned and worried about where houses are going. If they buy now, is it going to be the peak of the market? But I will say the peak of the market happened in May. But I will not know until tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I cannot wait.
So is there anything else, Miss Miller, while we wrap up today?
No, I'm really hoping that people make some comments below and let me know about their emotions and why they, if they're looking to purchase a home, if they're renting, or they're looking to sell their home, or just anybody who's a homeowner who's just sitting on this. Like, what are they doing with their equity in their property? Are they going to take advantage of it and pull out their equity with a home equity line of credit and sit on that so they can utilize it? Like, what are people doing? I want to know. I'm curious.
Or if you could just throw in a Purple Heart. Ashley likes those too.
Yes, I do.
We've had plenty of Purple Hearts in the past, and YouTube has been kind of interesting. So
YouTube is fun.
Yeah.
Always.
But I think that's it for today.
Yeah.
We're well past our time, but what else is new? So Rob Morales, RCO Network, coming at you live here on a Monday, talking about the Phoenix housing market. If you want any comments or questions or have any information that you need, go ahead and drop us a line, and we'll get back to you either next week, or we'll just text you, DM you.
Yeah.
Ashley's available too for whatever you need to.
I am.
And we have our event coming up in July, so we'll be posting more information about that as it comes closer. So until next time, we'll see you
See ya.
next Monday.